guys, and welcome back to Mika Reacts and Reviews. React and review to things on the internet. Same day, same shirt, different video. And today we are returning to our boy, our daddy in our heads, Dr. Jordan Peterson. And he's gonna give us some advice today. And so I'm gonna be reacting to a video called Jordan Peterson's Speech That Would Leave You Speechless. One of the most eye-opening speeches ever. This was not uploaded by Dr. Jordan Peterson, but this was uploaded by Motivational Hub. It was released a day ago, has 25,000 views and a little over 1,000 likes. So we are going to give it a watch, and if you like these type of videos, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell to get the notifications when I do upload. All of that helps with the algorithm, guys. And if you'd like to support the channel, you can donate. My PayPal link is in the description box below and also in the comment section. You don't have to, but it helps. You can just like, comment, subscribe, and sit back and relax and enjoy the video. All right, here we go.
Anything that's every day is a significant percentage of your life. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday and not to who someone else is today. One of the things I tell people when they're trying to develop a vision for their life or an implementable plan is make a bad plan. Like, make the best one you can, but don't get obsessive about it. It's like, make a plan, implement it. You'll figure out when you implement it why it's stupid, exactly, and then you can fix it a little bit. And then you can fix it a bit more, and then you can fix it a bit more. I don't think that I've ever been in a situation where if something wasn't going right for me and I sat and thought, okay, all right, I'm willing to figure out what I'm doing wrong, which is a big thing to think because you never know how much you're doing wrong. It might be something that you really don't want to contend with. But if you clear some space to meditate on that, the probability that you'll figure out something that you did that was stupid, that's bending you and twisting you in the wind, you'll get an answer very, very rapidly. The answer to how you pay for your past sins isn't by jumping off a bridge. Well, how much do you need to be beat up? Enough so you fix the problem. No more than that. Minimal necessary force. Don't hit anything harder than it needs to be hit. That's a good rule of thumb. Is there something I can do now to atone for what I failed to do in the past? So let's say you go over your past with a fine-tooth comb and you decide you're going to take responsibility for everything that you did that was wrong and everything that you failed to do that you could have done that was right. It's like, does that change the world? It's like, depends on how thoroughly you do it. You might say it changes the world like nothing else possibly can. And I think that that's actually right. And that's also a frightening thought because it means that things would be way better than they are if you weren't so damn useless. There's this unlimited power that's associated with genius, but it's constrained. And that's really what the human spirit is like, because it has this aspect of the infinite. When you don't get what you want, then a landscape of questions emerge, and those questions can resonate through different levels of your identity, from the trivial, oh, I told the joke wrong, to the profound, there's nothing desirable about me and I'll be alone for the rest of my life. It's daunting to even consider that. And then there's the discipline and responsibility that necessitates, which is also daunting. It's like, oh my God, the problem's that serious. I'm really going to have to get my act together in order to not contribute to it, much less solve it. And so the problem is terrible, and then the solution is daunting.
Okay, we're gonna stop right there because copyright. Of course, this seems like mostly pieces from one interview, but sort of splices of things that Dr. Jordan Peterson have said, but instead of creating a speech, a whole speech out of it. But he's right. Accountability and responsibility is something that I live by, and I can be one of the most reckless, irresponsible people like I know, but I take responsibility for my irresponsibility. Like, I don't blame it on anyone else, and I don't blame it on the system. I don't blame it on my abusive mother. I don't blame it on my absentee father. I don't blame it on the people who abused me in the past. I don't blame it on anything else but myself, because I made those decisions, and therefore I have the power to do something about it. A lot of the reasons why a lot of people don't want to do that is because exactly what he said. It's daunting, it's scary, and it can be really, really hurtful to realize that all the shit that happened to you, all the faults in your life, and the reason why you're not where you want to be in your life, and the reason why you made all those mistakes is because of you. Like, yeah, there might be some mental or psychological PTSD, trauma and stuff like that, but still, like, you have to take accountability for your mental health. And if you're not taking any accountability for your mental health and your mental health issues, or your past is still, fucking up your future and your present, that is still on you. And a lot of people don't like that. because it hurts. It really fucking stings. Because when I really fuck up, the part that hurts the most is not because I fucked up. The part that hurts the most is because I fucked up. It was me. I made the mistake. I can't blame anyone else. And it really, really sucks. But you gotta do it because you're a fucking adult. And that's what adults do. Like, my fucking camera's crooked. Anyway, so I completely agree with him. And also making the plan thing, I'm kind of someone who makes a quick plan and I just jump head first because I know, like, if I keep putting it to the side, it's not going to get done. And so I agree with him. Just make a plan and do it. And if you fuck up and fail, okay, reassess. Why did I fuck up? Why did I fail? Do I have a lack of knowledge, a lack of experience? Do I need to learn something? Reassess and try again. But a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people fail once and they don't ever want to try again because, again, failure fucking sucks and it fucking hurts. Or they just say they're not going to even try because they don't want to fail at all, right? So I totally agree with him. Again, even though this is sort of a spliced together speech, these are words from Dr. Jordan Peterson, but it looks like it's mostly from one interview. All right, their podcast. All right, let's continue.
When I commit to something and make sacrifices, if something's valuable, you'll make sacrifices to attain it. And that discovery of sacrifice, it's one of the primary factors separating human beings from animals, because we discovered that we could let go of something we value in the present and we would gain something we value even more in the future. You got to aim at something. It's like, otherwise your life is meaningless. Well, what should you aim at? Well, I don't know. Well, pick something. Aim at it. As you move toward it, you'll get wiser. Then maybe your aim will change. That's okay. But at least it'll change in an informed way. It's like discipline yourself in one dimension. See what happens. Well, that's exciting. Always take into account the cost of what you're doing now, right? Because what people tend to think is, well, whatever I'm doing now is risk-free, and here's a bunch of options. It's like, no, whatever you're doing right now has all sorts of risks. You're just blind to them because you've habituated to them. They've become invisible. You can't wait around to make things better on the assumption that what you're doing already is without risk. So when people come to see me clinically, for example, and maybe I'm helping them figure out what to do with their career, so they say, well, I think I might need to change jobs. It's like, okay, what's stopping you? Well, there's lots of things, right? Well, I have a job. That's something. It offers me some security. My CV isn't up to date. People don't like updating their CVs. It's partly because it's hard, but also because they're not very proud of it. So then updating your CV turns into sort of updating your life, and that's a complicated thing. And then maybe you don't like being interviewed, because most people don't, and maybe don't like being judged. And maybe you don't like the fact that if you look for another job, there'll be 50 rejections for every one acceptance. It's like there's a whole plethora of terrible things you have to encounter if you want to change jobs. So you think, well, I'm not going to do that. The risk is too high. It's like, fair enough. What's the risk of doing what you're doing? And that's easy. You don't like it?
Guaranteed suffering.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and accelerating suffering. Because let's say you're 35 now and you don't change your job. Well, you'll be 40 so fast you can't even believe it. It'll just happen. Like, it'll take 5 years, but it happens overnight in the same way. And if you haven't changed, then you'll be the same except worse. So that's the alternative. If you don't find what you're doing sufficiently productive or responsible or meaningful or engaging or all of that, it's like, well, there's a big risk in changing it. It's like, yeah, there is.
Yep. And people do not like taking risk. People stay in shitty situations all the time when they're not happy and they're miserable because at least they're used to it. They know what to expect. It's consistent in a way. It's familiar, and they're scared to change it because it's a risk. You know what I mean? And I think the reason why people do tend, sometimes as they get older, sort of grow this resentment and this sort of inner turmoil, because all that regret of not going for it, all that regret of just not trying, all that regret of just falling back on excuses that might have been great excuses, might have been amazing hurdles. You were in a right to be concerned about them, but still, you didn't try, and you're just getting older, and time is only running out, and life is just going to continue throwing you obstacles. It's not like one day life is just going to be clear of obstacles and now you can just be free to do what you want. It's going to constantly throw you obstacles. I remember when I wanted to start traveling, I would always be like, okay, maybe next year I'll start traveling, or the year after that, or I'll wait till I save some more money, or I'll wait till I do that. And guess what? Like throughout that year, my car would break down, or there would be a financial emergency, or I'll lose my job, or I'll get incredibly depressed, and then I'll have to I'll be back at zero again, saving up to go travel. At some point, I just had to just hit go and stop with the excuses and the timelines and just do it. And yeah, I don't always make the best decisions, trust me. But I make decisions and I do it and I try. And I fail and I fail and I fail and I try and try and try again. And I'm proud of myself because of that. And the times where I didn't take a risk, those are always my biggest regrets. Even the littlest things, I look back on those things and I'm like, why didn't I just do it? Why did I let the fear stop me? You know what I mean? On your deathbed, there's going to be no one else to blame for your life but yourself. And you can deny it all your life. You can keep putting it off on everyone else. But I think it's always going to come to a moment where you're going to realize it's all on you. It's always all on you. So yeah, just gotta do it. All right, let's continue.
In our phenomenological landscape, so that's the world as we experience it, complete with emotions and motivations and dreams, and so the full range of human experience, including the subjective and the objective, let's say, can broadly be broken into two domains. And one is the domain of things that are beyond our grasp and reach, and that's the unknown. The unknown emerges. When the unknown emerges, you tend to experience anxiety. And then there's the known, and I define the known very specifically and very carefully. The known is the place you are when what you're doing produces the results you want. And I say want because that brings motivation and emotion into the game. So you're motivated to pursue something. You pursue it, and what you want happens. Not only do you get what you want, but you get validation for the structure that governs your perceptions and your actions. There's lots of different ways to interpret the world, and you can maybe even make a case that there's an endless number of ways to interpret the world. And the problem with that is that it kind of disorients you in terms of what you should be doing. But just because there's a very large number of ways to interpret the world doesn't mean there's a very large number of productive, meaningful, and sustainable ways to interpret the world. And one of the things you do have to do is figure out how you can conduct yourself today so that you don't upset the apple cart in a week or a month or a year, right? Because you're playing an iterating game. One of the things I often tell my clients, and this is a really useful thing to know too, there's a lot of emphasis in the New Testament, especially in the Sermon on the Mount, on paying attention to the day. The thing that's so interesting about the day is like a page in a book. Of course, there's many pages in a book, but the page repeats. And so I had one client who was spending about 45 minutes a night fighting with his young son about when to go to bed. And so, they weren't having a pleasant time of it because it was just a constant battle. And so we did some arithmetic. It's like, okay, 40 minutes a day. So that's 280 minutes a week. So that's, let's say, 5 hours. It's 20 hours a month. It's 240 hours in a year. That's 6 work weeks. That's a month and a half. You're spending a month and a half of work weeks doing nothing but fighting with your son. What makes you think you're going to like him? Right? Well, and it's you think, well, it's only 40 minutes a day. It's like, don't fool yourself. You're awake, let's say 16 hours. 5 of those hours are basically maintenance. So you got about 11, and then 7 of those are work. So now you're down to 4. And so if you're spending 15 minutes a day doing something painful and stupid, and you do it every day, it's like 10% of your productive life.
Yeah.
And so it's really useful to get, because people think backwards. They think, well, I have a vacation coming up and that's really important. It's like, no, it's not. You're only going to do it once. It's not that important.
Yeah.
How you treat each other at lunchtime, if you eat together every day, that's your life.
Yeah.
Fix that.
Yeah.
Get it so that the food's good. Get it so that you're happy with the people that are sitting there. Fix that. It's like, poof, 10% of your life is fixed.
Okay, I think that's it. I think there's just some nice music playing. Okay, that was really good. He sort of talked about the Bible a bit, which he often does in his talks. And I think the end of it, he was sort of talking about not necessarily to understand the value of time in your life, not just wasting time, and understanding what what you're putting your energy to, right? And I can kind of understand that a bit, because like for a long time I didn't have a really good work play balance, I guess. When I had my freelance job, I worked quite a bit, and I didn't really mind it, but I did recognize that I didn't do a lot of leisure. I didn't have a lot of friends. I didn't hang out with a lot of people, and I really am now starting to fix that and try to like gather more experiences in my life and connect with more people on a deeper level, and it's been really good. I've been really happy with that. Also, going back to the risk factor thing, that's another thing I can like kind of relate to on that is like YouTube. For years I wanted to really focus on YouTube and kind of make it like my job basically, and it's a risk. It's a really big risk. It's super risky. But I have a travel channel, and I saw the potential in it, but I always would fall back on like, no, let me just do the responsible thing and work a regular job, save enough money, and then go back to YouTube. And it was always pushing it away, putting it back on the side, back burner, and making excuses of why I'm not just focusing on something that I really actually feel like I can make a good go at it. And now I look back on all the years that I kind of let it go and realize if I would have just focused all my energy on YouTube on day one, I might actually have a really valuable channel right now and could be making a full-time income off of it. I let years and years and years and just pass me by, and I just kept excusing it, thinking I was doing the right thing, like I'm doing an adult thing, I'm doing a regular job, and then I'll get back to that, hating my regular job, loving YouTube, but not doing it, right? And so I regret that, because I really think if I would have just focused on like my travel channel, it's been up for years, and I let it go and I let it die, and I'm really regretful of that because I wish I would have just did it, and that's what I'm doing now. So it's a risk. It's a risk, and it can fail. I don't think it will, but like it's a risk though, and you just have to kind of make that leap. Of course, a responsible leap to a certain extent that you're not completely like gonna be on the streets if you make a certain decision, or be homeless, or harm someone, harm yourself, but you just gotta take that risk. I appreciate that. Again, this wasn't from Dr. Jordan Peterson's channel. This is from Motivation Hub. But there were the words of Dr. Jordan Peterson. Tell me, guys, what do you think? Like, of course, on this channel I want to just have fun with a lot of my videos, but I also want to cultivate like sort of an intellectual audience that is down to like learn something and grow as a person. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that link when I do get the notifications. All of that helps me grow, guys. Even if you just comment just for the algorithm, it helps. Or if you'd like to support the channel, you can donate. My PayPal link in the description box below, and also in the comment section. Again, you don't have to. You can just like, comment, and subscribe. Also, I have a travel vlog channel, the one I just mentioned. I travel as a lifestyle, so you can go to the description box below and also in the comment section. Hit the link. Go subscribe to my travel vlog channel, and or follow me on Instagram, you guys. My stories is usually what's up to date, and you guys have an amazing day. Bye.